This Eagle Owl, and today we're gonna talk about Micah Parsons actually wanted to be an Eagle. Man, we're gonna talk about it. Also, Zack Baun is just the absolute monster. Can't forget about Zack Baun. And lastly, we're gonna talk about Nick Wright hating on the Eagles, saying we're not going back after 1 week. But let's get straight into it. All right, man, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, we got to talk about Kenyon Green. So Kenyon Green was waived. So that means an open roster spot is open. So I tried to wait a little later for this video to see did we make any moves, did we elevate anybody, but nothing happened. If something happened, I'll probably talk about it Monday. But yeah, Kenyon Green was waived. What do you think? The Eagles going to make another move, another trade, just sign somebody. But let me know in the comments what you think. But before we get into the main topics, we got to shout out the show sponsor, ProphetX. ProphetX is a new peer-to-peer exchange where you could play against other fans and not the house. That means better lines and even better chances of setting your own odds. Just use promo code EagleOwl. Get 1.5% in ProphetX cash back for your first 30 days up to $200. As you see here, it's Sunday. So, you got the Sunday games up here. Yesterday, they had all the Saturday college. But even if you don't want to, play against your peers on the NFL games, you still got college, MLB, you got Ryder Cup, Euro basketball, WNBA, U.S. men's tennis future, boxing, UFC. Just got multiple things on here. But again, if you're interested in going against your peers on the sports exchange, use promo code EagleOwl or just click the link in the description and it take you straight there. But again, shout out to ProphetX. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. So let's start with Zack Baun. We like to talk about the new toys. We like to talk about Jahad Campbell, Andrew McCuba, the new guys that came in. Hell, Adoree Jackson's a new guy that came in. We talk about him a lot, but in a negative way. But you get my point. We love to talk about the new people. But Zack Baun, he just picking up where he left off at. And let me play this clip by Brian Baldinger.
Zack Baun picked up exactly where he left off last year. Maybe the best defensive player in the league. And it was on display right here. Here he is on the other side of the hash when Miles Sanders breaks loose. And he's gone. Terrence Steele gets a great block on Blankenship. And it's a one-on-one foot race. It's Zack Baun and Miles Sanders. It's Miles Sanders, the former Eagle, the former Penn State star. And it's Zack Baun taking him down and keeping him out of the end zone, which basically saved the day. Because 3 plays later, Dak Prescott was looking for his tight end, Jake Ferguson, in the Tampa 2 look. The corners are outside the hashes. It's Zack Baun and Jake Ferguson down the field. And Dak isn't looking for anybody else. He knows the coverage. He has the time. And Zack Baun, he might not be saving lives, but he's saving touchdowns. Keeping the Cowboys out of the end zone and preserving a 24-20 victory. Zack Baun is unreal.
Baldy is right, man. I mean, Zack Baun, I'm sorry. I think he's better than Fred Warner right now. I think he covers better. And Fred Warner can cover. It is very close, but I would edge it to Zack Baun. I would say that. I'm not going to poo-poo on Fred Warner. Fred Warner like that, but I said it. I got crucified when I said it. I'm like, yo, my boy Zack Baun better than Fred Warner. All these Eagles fans delusional, this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, he's run up for Defensive Player of the Year. To me, he should have won it. And I said this time and time and time and time and time again. If his name was Roquan Smith, if his name was Fred Warner that played for the Eagles, he would have won it. I believe the voters looked like it's 1 year. Let's see if he could do it again. But so far, he's showing he could do it again because he saved the touchdown. The boy can still cover. And Jahad Campbell can cover too. So, I mean, Zack Baun look like he's going to have one of those years again. Just keep it up. And then if Jahad Campbell continue to play how he play, yeah, we got some really good linebackers, and we got a really good future. And I even like the guys behind, like the Zack Baun's and Jahad Campbell's. Like, you're going to have Nakobe Dean on the bench, and you're going to have Trotter Jr. So I'm assuming when Zack Baun contract is up or whatever he decide to do, you got that next class of guys that'll be ready. So the linebacker room is really, really deep. So again, shout out to Zack Baun, man. He just continues to do his thing. But let's talk about a hater. Let's talk about an Eagles hater and Nick Wright. So Nick Wright, after the win against the Cowboys, this is what he had to say.
Reactionary, but through one game, I have seen enough. That team is not getting back to the Super Bowl. That team, when it starts to go sideways, and it starts to look like, oh yeah, they're not quite the same team, you know what's going to be said? Should have seen it coming. Remember how the year started? The first play of the season, they unluckily suffer an injury, and before the second play of the season, their best player on their defense is spitting on the league's highest paid player. Going into the year, if there was a concern, what was it? Pass rush and secondary. Immediately, first game of the year, it's like, ooh, yikes. Like, they don't look the same in that regard, and other bubbling potential stories going into the year, like if it got off right, well, you know, what about A.J. Brown getting, being able to eat? Well, he had his career low in targets. All in the first game of the year against a team that none of us think is great. So I have, oddly, more faith after that game in their quarterback, because he did, and I know you're going to talk about it, everything Wild says he does. I have less faith in the overall quality of that Eagles roster than I've had at any point in the last 3 years. So I have less faith, Brew, and I do not think they're going to defend their NFC championship or Super Bowl championships for that matter.
I mean, look, I get it. You don't like the Eagles. We did y'all dirty, but did you watch your game against the Chargers? Do that look like a Super Bowl team? So you harping on the Eagles after week 1. I could tell you what, last year after the first 4 weeks, people was questionable that we was going to go to the playoffs. They thought it was going to be another collapse. We win the Super Bowl. After a win, to me, we played a C- game. Cowboys probably played their A game, and we still won that game. We're going to get better. We're not going to go into games undisciplined, a lot of penalties and stuff like that. Hopefully Kevin Patullo figure out the offense to get more guys involved. I believe in that. And I just believe in Fangio. Whatever he got to do with the defense to adjust, to fix the Dory Jackson problem, to fix the edge rushing room, whatever, he's going to fix it. I believe that. So don't judge us by week 1. Don't listen to this guy. We're going to be fine. But that's what haters do, man. They want to see us fall. They want to see us fall. But we ain't going nowhere. We are not going anywhere. And speaking of the edge room and speaking of defense, let's talk about Micah Parsons. So the news came out that Howie Roseman wanted Micah Parsons. To me, that is no, like, Biggie is like, come on, Howie Roseman, you always going to make the call, see what the teams want. Don't care if it's the Cowboys, Washington, the Giants, any team, even if it's the San Francisco 49ers. Eagles are going to make the call. But what ended up happening is that Micah Parsons actually wanted to go to the Eagles. He wanted to go there. And I think it was out of pettiness, like, okay, y'all want to trade me? Trade me to Green Bay or the Eagles, as I know Green Bay been fucking us up in the playoffs, and I want to go there and do that to y'all again. Or I'm going to go to the Eagles. I want to play y'all twice a year to a team you hate. But Jerry Jones said, no, we'll send you to Green Bay. He really didn't have any control, but I think his thing was like, if you're going to trade me within the division or trade me to a team I know we've been having problems with. But if Jerry Jones was smart, he would have traded him to like the Raiders or something like that. He still kept him in the conference, but Jerry being Jerry, his ego. So, again, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by this, that he actually wanted to go to the Eagles. And I definitely wasn't surprised that Howie Roseman made the call. If you listen to Howie Roseman talk every single time, he's like, if there's a guy on the market, I'm going to make the call to get a feel of what that team want. Because he never wanted to be the guy like, oh, wow, that's what they gave up. And I could have had that guy on this team. He always going to make the call. So when you see these big names, Howie's going to call. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel? Look, man, Eagles, we got things to work on for sure. But to listen to Nick Wright, like, we just not going to go back to the Super Bowl is asinine. Also, Zack Baun is just a complete dog. And Micah Parsons, are y'all shocked by that? And are the Eagles going to make a move? But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm out.